All right. So I don't know I don't know if you want to just talk about this a bit, Sean, or if you wanted to like show some of the work that you did, or what. Basically, the stream is cut up into two parts just for everyone who's tuning in. Sean's been doing a lot of work on. Well, first of all, this is Sean. For those who don't know, our company is two people. He's the one that does the work. I'm the one that's on camera. So that's that's the way it works. Yeah. So for anyone who hasn't met Sean before, he's Idiom on the Discord. He's the other admin. And he's been working on basically cleaning up our feed on UNPACME. UNPACME. Getting rid of trash from the feed. And in the process, he's done some pretty interesting research on file infectors and other types of replicating malware, which are not file infectors, which we just kind of call Zombieware. So he published a blog on Friday, and I think it's probably worth having him just discuss a little bit about what he found and the research that he's doing. And then for the second half of the stream, I grabbed one of the file infectors that's like super, super popular, and we'll reverse engineer it. We'll take a look at the infection component, and it's actually an interesting one. It captures the file that it's infected, and then it can go and infect other files, and every time it infects a file, it captures that file. So you end up with this massive polyglot of files inside of one file infector. And so what we're going to do is we're going to write a extractor to pull all the files out of the infected files, and we'll try and see the travel of the file infector as it's traveled between computers infecting files. So that's kind of what we're going to end the stream on. But to kick it off, yeah, Sean, I don't know if you want to. I don't know how you want to start this, but the floor is yours.
Yeah, sure. We can start talking about it. I don't have anything to show per se, so I don't know if you want to put something up on stream. I can't
That's
see
fine.
the stream because I'm too afraid that my internet will die. But I guess like how this started, as Sergey said, we noticed from multiple sources we were getting just, I guess for lack of a better term, just garbage files. And I'm guessing our workflow is similar to anyone else that works, say, as a malware analyst or reverse engineer. Part of your day might be, what new files do I have that are unidentified? Do I need to look at them? And we started to notice that the number of unknowns went up, but when we started, spending time on these, they were 20 plus years old at the time. So I'll be interested to see which infector you grabbed. And we started to have a lot of problems with this. So, like, what do we do with it? We kind of discussed it in the blog. Like, our first sort of idea was let's just block them. But we quickly kind of realized that might not be the best thing, because people will still be infected by these. Probably, obviously, not businesses, but users, different places. And they are cropping up. So if we label them, we might be able to help other people figure out what's going on. And to give kind of an idea of how bad it is, here, I'll post this on in the Discord chat if someone can put it in Twitch too for people.
Yeah, I can do that.
Let's do it live here. So here's source code for a Delphi virus. I don't know if Dodo's here, but it's from the forum post is from 2003. It's about 12 lines of code, and we literally still see this shit today, which amazes me. Like, it's just a self-replicating worm. It's expecting to be spread through, I'm going to date myself more to my gray, but like Kaza, like Natilla, I don't know, probably only Rattle remembers the good era of the internet. But most of these also spread just through peer-to-peer file sharing. So, 15, 20 years ago, the big thing was people just, IRC as well. To some degree, we still do see a bunch of IRC bots, and they're kind of fun. Like, if, you want to challenge looking at a IRC bot and jumping in to see what's happening in the channel is always a good time. But a lot of, Casa, Natilla, I forget the other. There's, 5 or 6 of them that used to be. And they just spread. And, it's essentially worms that their purpose is to spread, or file infectors, as Sergey said, that are just infecting other files. And this became really problematic because LimeWire was a good one too. I think there's actually, I looked it up, there's a page on Wikipedia that kind of lists still available, and there's some networks that are still alive and well, which actually surprised me. So as we started going through this, right, we identified, okay, we have a certain percentage of just crap we want to filter out. It slows down our analysis. Like, there's 2 of us, so anything we can automate, we try and do. But as we kind of started peeling the layers of the onion off, we realized, what's really happening, right? So you might have at one point, say in 2012, have had a file that got infected by something. And now, fast forward 12 years later, that's been infected multiple times by different file infectors. So sometimes identifying which one it actually is very difficult. And something we kind of found during this process as well is trying to find information, like technical information on some of these old file infectors is becoming really difficult, especially when some of the legacy AV companies like Norton and McAfee, like I think they both got bought by equity firms. So their websites have now been moved into like just some other, weird site, and all that old technical content sometimes is just gone now. So Wayback Machine has some of the info, but that's not always the case. And it was, probably a month or a couple of months of just trying to figure out like what are these things? How can we, I would say, as accurately as possible, identify what they are? Is it only old Zombieware? So someone mentioned today, like they've seen some ransomware affiliate or operator has a file infector. So that's obviously kind of interesting. And it was as we started to take the layers of the onion off, it became more and more apparent that sandboxes are one of the main sources of some
malware.
Of this of malware. Yeah, so it's kind of like the act of observing and analyzing the malware is now producing more and more malware. Now that's obviously not everyone, but if you don't have checks and balances in place, it's certainly happening, right? If you're collecting all dropped peas on a box, just say a default cuckoo install, you're going to be emitting more.
Sean kind of coined the term the sandbox centipede, which I think is really funny, and it kind of describes the process. I don't know how many of you were here when we streamed on that Soul Searcher worm. That was last year, early last year. We put this in the blog too, but that was the first time that we kind of were like, oh shit, this stuff isn't even coming from live infections. It's coming from sandboxes. So what's happening is, in that case, somebody tagged one of these self-propagating file infectors as an APT sample. It's just a miscategorization. But that made all of these sandboxes download the file and run it. And then they were uploading the unpacked or extracted files in their sandbox back to VirusTotal, which of course are just files that were infected in the sandbox by the worm. And again, if you guys, I don't know if you guys were here, I don't know how many people were here for that, but there was over 500,000 samples within like 5 days. So it just just to give you an idea of the scale of this insanity, as the sandboxes just downloaded, ran infected files, and then uploaded those labeled as APT back to VirusTotal, and then sandboxes downloaded it. It's just like, it was insane. And it wasn't until like we streamed about it, we kind of made some noise about it, they removed the tag. So then the sandboxes stopped downloading it and running it. But for a while, like I said, it was over 500,000 files in like 5 days. It was just, just to give you an idea of the scale of this kind of stuff. Yeah.
And I think that's probably true with a lot of it, like the unknown samples, right? So if you're a malware analyst and you have a feed from somewhere, and you're like, what's new? What do I actually care about? Depending on the quality of that source, like you might just have to wade through all sorts of crap. Now, if you have a good set of rules in place, you might be able to filter these, and that's kind of what we're recommending. Like, don't stop processing them, right? But maybe limit the processing and at least understand that those files are going to be there. And it seems like there's no way to stop it. So there was a talk at BSides, I think it was BSides Prague last week or the week before.
Yeah, shout out to that guy. I don't know what his name is, but as you mentioned that, I'll pull up his name.
Okay, yeah. He, I believe he worked at AVG, and in certain regions, it was 20+% of the install base infected. So it's not, it's not entirely sandboxes, and it's kind of hard to gauge what that 20% is. Is it just people, my computer's slow, so I install free AV and, they uninstall it afterwards, or is it actual install base? But it seems like a high number. But in our testing, so we did do some sinkholes for some old, 20-year-old plus domains, and you could definitely trace back and see. We're going to release some of this information as well, probably in a couple weeks. But you can see the ebb and flow, right? So there'd be no activity at all, and then all of a sudden we'd start to see the flood of activity that's just automated analysis that just hits it. There's zero actual infections reaching out to a C2, and it's just sandboxes, or Go clients.
Are you gonna publish that? I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about that. I guess you're okay talking about it.
Yeah, well, I think it's important. If we can get people thinking about how to sort of mitigate or short circuit some of these analysis to keep replicating it, it'll just I think it just helps everyone, right? So the more we talk about it, the better. And obviously, we don't want to throw anyone under the bus. Like, it happens. We were processing them.
Yeah, we're also doing it, so it's not like not anymore
though.
No. Thanks to Sean.
No. So it's it might just be something that people don't think about, or I think someone was joking on the stream, this was before they were born. You might not even seen these things before, or understand how kind of prolific they are. So in that silly Delphi worm as an example, its only purpose is to spread, right? There's no malicious intent in the sense of it's trying to steal your data. It's just someone said, hey, look, here's a cool Delphi script. I'm going to spread it on Kaza or whatever. And there's literally dozens and dozens of these on the worm side. And then the same with file infectors. Some of them are malicious, like Solitude is apparently still going strong. But there's other ones that'll just infect files, and it looks to infect other files, right? So it's sort of a different time.
Rattle was asking, Rattle, what's the one that you, was it G rename? Yeah, he's asking us, is one of them G rename? I'm not sure. The problem, Rattle, is that these don't have solid names. I don't know if, G rename might be some AV name for it or something. Does it have the string G rename in it? Because these things, that's the other thing that Sean was mentioning, is it's really hard to find the actual industry name for these things. It just renames the original file to G plus the original name. I don't know if we've seen that. I'm not sure.
I don't know. We can try and find it. But there are. So Trend Micro has some really good write-ups. They'll have a technical analysis section. Microsoft actually, their older write-ups would always have a technical analysis section.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, as things go on, they're not maintained, or they'll get deleted a lot of the times. And now, all the modern ones just say, install our AV and we'll take care of it. Unfortunately.
Yeah, they don't name them. And I don't know, did you mention the malware getting infected with file infectors? Have you talked to? I don't know if you.
Oh yeah,
you glazed over that, but you should definitely talk about that, because that's really. So
that's another big challenge we started having, is that we would have a file infector. So there's a async rat sample, I think it was. So it's .NET, and I had a loose rule for it, so I wasn't using the .NET module or anything. I was just saying, hey, try and find this, and it hit on it. And of course, I look at it, and the first thing you see is, well, it's not .NET what's going on here. And it made me realize, oh shit, so there's actually modern samples, right, that have now been infected with file infectors somehow. And then those infected files are then making it into various feeds or live on the internet somewhere, and decoupling all that to figure out, like, okay, is this actually malicious now or is it not? Can be problematic. And we even see some, I would say, legacy ransomware like GANCrab and stuff that will also be infected with file infectors. So we have what I would say is like zombie ransomware, not active at all anymore. And then we have zombie ransomware somehow infected with, insert whatever the file infector is. And it just, like, that just keeps escalating, right? And becomes very problematic.
Yeah, I think GANCrab was the worst one because that one was self-propagating, if I'm not mistaken. Like that, like it kept the GANCrab sample in, like it didn't encrypt it. So it was like, I should mention, we're going to talk about the technical details. I see a lot of questions about the technical details. We're going to actually open them in IDA and I'll show you guys how they work. They're quite simple in most cases. There's two different just to make the point though. There's two main different ways that they do it. Either one is they'll just copy the original file, just literally the bytes, and they'll put it onto they'll append it to their PE file. So they have their own file infector, and then the full file is appended. And in that case, the file is not encrypted or anything. So all the strings and the code in the infected file can be hit on YAR rules, and that's what Sean's talking about with like the async rat, where it looks like async rat to a YAR rule, but then you run the code path is a file infector. So that's one type. The other type, which is actually slightly less bad for this type of issue, is the type that will encrypt the infected file. So they'll encrypt it and they will either inject themselves in the entry point so that they run the file infector and then they decrypt the payload, or they'll use some other mechanics to like run and decrypt the payload so that then they run their file infection component and then they also run the original file so it looks like the original file is run. And in those cases, like those ones that are like ransomware are quite annoying because it will encrypt the files on disk with some ransomware variant from 5 years ago, but it will also infect all the files on disk. So it's like it's a fucking mess to try and sort out. And honestly, in these, Rattle's gonna love this. Honestly, in these cases, static analysis is probably the best way to sort it out because dynamically it looks like absolute insanity if you put it in a sandbox. It's a lot easier just to see statically, like, the entry point is the file infector, so then this must be a file infector. It's much easier to do that than to try and like dynamically run it and see what happens. Anyway, so that's just kind of a loose overview of how these things work. And again, I will get into the technical details. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys some background here with how these things are impacting our lives, unfortunately, and I guess everyone else's life. I mean, I don't know. It's funny because like Sean's been working on this for quite a while. I mean, it's been probably since the beginning of the year, maybe. I'm not sure how many months you've been picking away at this, but it's back in the news because, as Sean mentioned, that guy, I just pulled up his name here, Ladislav Zezula, or Zezula. I'm not sure how. I assume he's Czech, so it's probably Zezula. So he presented on file infectors at Prague just last month. So it was like 1 month ago, which is very funny that he was probably in parallel working on this as we were working on it, but we had no idea that he was working on it. But his our main finding was that a lot of this stuff was coming from sandboxes. I think probably just because of our partners and where our samples come from. Like a lot of our partners are security industry folks, so a lot of the samples I think probably come from sandboxes. His perspective was, like Sean said, he works for Gen Data or whatever, the company that owns AVG and all those other they own like 4 AV companies. So he was coming at it from here, I'll just pull this up on screen. He was coming at it from an AV perspective, and he was saying that in his talk, I definitely encourage you guys to go watch that if you're interested in it. He was talking about how the install base for these file infectors is basically like developing nations where they're still running like XP machines at home, right? Like they're just running old technology, so they're more susceptible to being at risk for these older variants. But you know, in truth, anyone is susceptible to these things. They really are like weeds. All right, shall we wrap up and then I'll let you go.
Yep.
I'll start
Sure.
start looking at this malware. All right, thanks, Sean. Should have you on more often.
Thanks,
That's
guys.
Sean's one appearance every 5 years.
Cool.
All right, man, take it easy.
Peace.
COSMU, COSMU. So this is, if anyone's looked at this, this is the sample that we're going to be looking at today. And like I said, it's pretty straightforward code. I'll show you guys once we get in. Pretty easy to reverse engineer. Pretty good first project if there's anyone here who's kind of new to reverse engineering, you want to practice a little bit. But the reason why I picked this sample is because this is one of these samples that collects the infected file as it runs. And what I want to do is I want to figure out how they encrypt it and embed it in the file infector. And I want to write an extractor. And I want to pull all the collected files out that it's collected over the years and take a look at them. So if you guys are interested in that, stick around. That'll be the second half of the stream here.